Well, hello my YouTube friend. Today it is my pleasure to present you an exotic or overseas exotic video about a knife coming from France. What is the use to have a YouTube channel from a Frenchman, even if I speak English, if it's not to speak a little bit about some products of my country or an island actually near my country, Corsica. For those of you who follow me on Instagram, you know that this is a place that I absolutely adore. It's an island southeast of France. It's called the Island of Beauty, actually. It's just a fantastic, fabulous island. Very proud people living there. It's still a place owned by French, but they fought a lot for their independence and everything. So they're really proud people. This is their logo, I would say. This logo here. Some still fight for the independence, but they're for now they're still in France. So yeah, that's definitely a knife coming from France. Most of you don't know this place. Most of you don't know those guys. So they're basically shepherd. So they make knives that is really useful for shepherd, and they have a very, very long tradition of knife making there. But as I said, you see this shape overall, it's, shape very useful for shepherd, basically, or hunter or whatever. So this is for the big picture, the knife comes from there. And maybe for those of you who know history a little bit, you would know that Napoleon actually was born and raised in Corsica. So if some of you know about this place, maybe it is through this history. So what do we have here? I always wanted, to have some traditional knife from my country, but they don't speak to my heart. You know that I'm all about tactical knife holders. I like to play with one hand with my knives. And so, all those slip joint or whatever, they're not appealing. I like to have a deployment mechanism that I can use with one hand. I like to have locking system and everything. So that doesn't fit usually the knife that I can find in Corsica or in France, for that matter. But this one, I was searching, but this one, fit my bill, actually. I didn't know when I first came in, but it fit my bill because you see me acting with it, with two hands. But actually, you can play with this knife with one hand. Look at that. You haven't seen that coming, right? So basically you have an assisted mechanism with a spring inside, of course, that allows you to deploy the blade like that. And believe me, when I entered the shop, they say that the mechanism is called the coup de pouce. Coup de pouce is, you deploy with your thumb. And I was just like, oh, okay, what is that kind of mechanism? And the lady said, yeah, you can either, open it like that here, but I don't have nails. So for me, it's difficult to to grab this freaking thing here and to deploy it with the thumb. So basically, you grab it with your two fingers and it deploys 100% of the time. But for those of you who has nail, you can also deploy it like that. So that right there, when I first started to play with it, I couldn't stop. It's addictive, and it has a bold action and the noise. Look, hear that, boom! Just hear the flipper from, Oh, sorry about that. You see, you hear the noise. Maybe you don't. I don't know if the noise is the sound is good on the video, but hear that. This one has a bolt action also, but the noise on this one, I don't know. The feel, there is a kind of recoil even, boom. You see the noise is different, the sound is different, and believe me, it is very, very, very addictive. But that was not it, Okay, I can deploy it with one hand, but it was almost enough, For me, it was almost enough because that only is so addictive. So wait a minute, it's so addictive that I couldn't stop playing with it, actually. But as I said, I like to, operate my knives, and I have to have a locking system and operate with one hand. And this also can happen with this knife, actually. So you have a locking system, and it's a lock back. So that's great. And the first, the first thing that you're going to expect to do with the locking system at this position is to press with the thumb and boom, use your other hand to close it. But actually, you can do it with one hand, because if you have, I don't know, your fabric or whatever, you just press it with the thumb like that and boom. And you can do that with whatever surface, I don't know, with your belly, with whatever, the table, you just deploy it like that, you just close it like that, and you can definitely use it with one hand. I mean, for the purpose of the video and for the drama of the presentation, I used my second hand, but actually I use only one hand to close that knife. So basically for me, I can open it with one hand, I can definitely close it with one hand. That right there gives you something that no other knife gives me in my collection. Simple as that. And I like uniqueness. So this knife right there brings me that uniqueness. No other mechanism like that. I mean, of course, you have some assisted mechanism, but a knife that you can, just deploy it with the blade like that. Either it has a hole or whatever, and it has an assisted system. But this one like that, I've never found. So this I don't have, and yeah, this way of playing with a knife I don't have. So for me, it brings that uniqueness. You add that to the fact that it comes from Corsica. Oh man, the deal was sealed already, But that was not it. Actually, I really liked the blade shape. And this, by the way, is a custom. Whenever they do this mechanism, it's a custom knife. Because this brand here, for those of you who know Corsica, I don't know, maybe some does, it's a family business. So they do basically a lot of production knives, and sometimes they do custom, and this one definitely is a custom. Of course, as you can see, you can tell that the grind has been done on the machine, but the rest is the assembly is purely custom, except the blade and the steel. That is a poor steel. That is the only complaint that I would have on this one, is that this is not hand ground for sure, and the steel is I think it's 420C, something like that. Not 440, not 420, something like that. So yeah, that's not really the best thing in the world, but it has some file work, which is done here by hand, of course, and as I said, just the blade shape, the overall shape, it's very pleasing, and the mechanism is just, to me, and the way to play with the knife is fantastic. But that was not it, actually. It was not over with that knife. I had other things that really pleased me. And actually, the thing that pleased me probably the most is the handle. Because that handle right there is white mammoth. I mean, you see some ivory from tusk, from, whatever, elephant even. But a white ivory, white mammoth, like that, I have not seen a lot. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I would need to make probably a thorough search on that. But all the knives that I've seen, when it was white, you can expect it to come from tusk or elephant, but not mammoth, So white mammoth is not, as black mammoth also, is not really often to see. Basically, mammoth, you're going to see, like blues and brown, and this is what I like actually usually on the mammoth. This is what I like, the different shade of color. It's more dramatic, but this in white mammoth, again, it has this uniqueness that you will never find, or really rarely, on other knives. So you see, I have the knife from Corsica, I have the mechanism that is unique, I have a locking system and a knife that I can play definitely with one hand, a nice detent. Man, what can I say? And I think I paid like 350 euros for that, which is some money, of course, but considering all the aspects of this knife, the fact that it's a custom and everything, oh man, I think that, to me, this day, I was really happy because I made a nice bargain. I didn't know when or where or how to present it to you, and I, this morning like that, out of the blue, the kids were wanted to go out by themselves, not with their parents. My wife is not here, and I had this knife in front of me, and I said, oh yeah, what the heck, let's do the video and let's see how it goes, and if it makes any sense or if it has some value, I will post it. So if you see it on YouTube, basically probably I will consider that I don't know, I brought something and something to bring you, you know. What can I say again about the knife? So you see it's a Bowie shape. I really like the blade shape. You know, that was one of the things that also really was interesting to me. I couldn't care less about the shade, the brand, and the logo here. But actually, the logo, yes, because it comes from Corsica, so it reminds me that it comes from Corsica. But I like sterile blade, so basically, I like to see it on that side. And as I said, the grind, I mean, the shape is beautiful. I like the Bowie, but the grind is kind of poor, and the steel, and it cuts, but at least it's really easy to resharpen. So that for users, as those guys there, they need a knife that they will cut, you know, that will cut and ease to resharpen, because it's no use for them if they cannot resharpen the knife. So I think it's a choice, and it's how can I say it? It's done by design, you know. They choose to go for poor steel like that because they want to be able to resharpen it like almost on a daily basis, because they will definitely use those knives. But this one is a custom, so I'm not sure that it was really interesting to go that way. I think that it would have been better, you know, if the blade was a better steel and hand ground this way. Probably would have cost more, but I would have been, you know, crazy about it. So what can I say? What more can I say? You know, basically, I think we covered it all. Of course, you have some raw finish here on the pivot. It's not going to be something that's going to be flush or whatever. This is not actually, I mean, you know, on a knife, I used to say to some people that there are some things on a knife, when something is perfect on a knife, you can accept some flaws. For example, I don't want to cite any example, but yes, why not? You know, I love Terzuola. You know how much I love Terzuola, and I just adore him. Why? Because the material will be just fantastic. The way he works his handle is just pure artistry. His ground is just phenomenal. Overall, everything is just perfect. But the lock usually can fail, and they're known to fail sometimes, you know. But it's not an issue for me. If there is a small, tiny flaw, at least Bob will fix it, and that it's not an issue. After that, it will be great. But when there's uniqueness, you can pass on some flaws, you know. So here, of course, yeah, as I said, it's not hand ground. Of course, here the pivot, it's not the best pivot in the world. But all the other things, you know, the white mammoth, the mechanism that is unique, the fact that it's done in Corsica, all of that for me just sealed the deal. And I was really happy to present you this video because, as I said, speaking in English, I present knives that are done in the United States, but I'm French, so still French, you know. And so I think that it made some sense for me once in a while to present you some things that comes from my country and with kind of, you know, this kind of exotism. So I was happy to do that, and hopefully I'll find this video interesting enough to post it on YouTube. And with that being said, my friend, I'll catch you very soon for another and more regular video. Bye bye!